Hello, I'm David Turner of the William Turner Gallery. I'm here today to speak with Elyse Defoor regarding her latest exhibit at the gallery, Via Dorso. The exhibit will be on display February 11th through March 13th. Elyse, could you tell us something about the concepts behind this latest series, Via Dorso?
Via Dorso, Sonnets to Unguarded Moments. I did this body of work in response to an earlier exhibit that I'd done, a series of work called All of Us Alone. And it was based on the classical female nude figure, reclined. I did probably 60, 70 pieces of that work. And the whole time that I was doing it, all my friends are like, when are you going to do the men? So that was back in 2002. And when I was searching for a new theme, I thought, I'll try it. And I had done some reclining nudes and just out of my head, had even started painting some of the backs. They were all backs. I wanted to concentrate on the back. And because I felt like the frontal figure had been done so much before, and I really just wasn't interested except in expressing the back. So I started painting from my head because I had no reference point, and realized it was a struggle. So I asked my friend if he would be my model, and he took about 3 months to decide to say yes, and I photographed these photographs. And while we were doing it, well, the first session was just zeroed in on just from the waist up. It took us about 3 hours. And then right the last maybe half hour, I said, will you take this fabric and just wrap it around and let's just do some nudes from the back. And what I loved was the one that looks like a column, kind of a little classical. I'd taken that pose, and it reminded me of the classical female with the drapery around the back, and it clicked with me. You know, the idea about having the male nude in more of a feminine gesture and form. Doing this work, it's a way to express vulnerability as well. And the male figure usually are men. It's all about power. You don't really show that sensitive side, that vulnerable side. And I really like that I'm bringing kind of more of the feminine ideals to this. When you take the photograph, that's one interpretation. And I could have left them like that because they were beautiful photographs. But putting the overlay, like I was thinking it veiled the photograph, but it really also revealed more. My mark making on top revealed more, I think, of emotions and stances that more than the photograph itself. I really love working in a large scale. Going up to it and being part of it, and with this body of work, it felt like I was connecting with my friend. You know, it's that frenetic, almost touching him as I did it. I believe my work is definitely more emotional than intellectual. I'm really trying to portray the our inner spirit and express an unconscious world that we live in. And I think if you think about my day when I'm as an artist, I sit around a lot and I write a lot and read and putter, and then all of a sudden focus on like how I'm feeling about my thoughts, you know, what I'm trying to portray, and it explodes out. It comes out in two hours. you know, but I've spent the whole day moving to that place, you know, that inner kind of sacred, deeper place that my art comes from.
Could you tell us about some of the major influences to your artwork?
Poetry. I read a lot. There's a book called Art and Fear that is by David Bales that is basically my Bible. I think I've read it 5 times in the past 8 years. It helps with my process. I love Sally Mann's work because it's just very, I like what she does with her photography. She could be a painter, but how she brings that undertone of emotion to all her work. And one of her books that she did probably, 5 years ago, What Remains, I loved reading in the preface, the introduction, where she talked about her father and how he said that most art, good art, has the elements of sex, death, or whimsy. And a great piece of art has all 3. And so that's been something that I think about, you know, not purposefully, but I'm not afraid of expressing, you know, the darkness. I think that there's a lot of light that's within us, but it goes hand in hand with the dark side. Artists, I love Gerard Richter. I especially like him because he doesn't have just one look. He explores different mediums and styles as ways of expressing his art. And I think that's something that I've had to accept about myself, that it's okay to look at a lot of different ways to express something. I don't have to stick to one style. But I do really, one thing I have found is I like the mark making. I like the drawing part. Maybe mixed in with the painting, but the drawing element is strong. Jackson Pollock, that explosion of energy, that's something I really relate to. I remember the first time I saw his huge pieces of art at MoMA and was just blown away. You know, little photographs of it doesn't do it justice. And I love, like, Richard Serra, his torqued ellipses, walking in the space. I like to create the idea of space, and that's one thing I think about with this body of work. I wanted a room that you walked into and was affected as much by the individual pieces as the collective part of it. So I think that's kind of says it all for right now.